Like I felt homesick in that moment. Like I was really really happy, but I was also really aware that I was alone. And though I am not alone, I am, but I am traveling solo, and I am on my own out here technically, on and off. And of course I have friends, people around me. I now have a job and all of this, but I'm traveling solo at the end of the day, and I've been doing this for quite some time now, for the last 9 months or so. So and I'm completely used to it. I love it. I'm beyond happy with it. And I was also very aware that I I was so happy with my own presence, and I am still, but also I was very aware that, you know, I am alone right now. Like it's just me here, and I was very aware that it's just me until, it's just me when I'm come into this world, and it's just me when I leave, when I die. And I'm very blessed to have such a beautiful relationship with myself, because it's really, at the end of the day, it's just me that's here. My own mind cannot have any other person in it. Like it's always going to be just me, no matter who I'm with, no matter where I am. So it's a really beautiful feeling. But I was also, so it's just like, at the same time, it was just, I was very aware that I'm not with my family, I'm not with my friends back home, and I'm also have been quite disconnected from them, and completely, due to myself. I've been I have not made enough time to reach out to people as much as I don't like the word should, but as I feel that as much as I want to, because I do want to. And then that part of me that wants to always be present in the moment of, doing what I'm doing out here, and getting distracted by my life out here, is I'm not talking to the people back home very often, or just maybe a few people, but then, going months without even speaking to my friends. And I have certain friends that I haven't spoken to since I left Canada, like for the second time. So this was, maybe 4 months ago, which is, and I think about it a lot, and I feel guilt around it. But and so in that moment, I was just really thinking about that, about how I want to stay connected. I want to stay connected with my life back home, and I feel like I've almost completely abandoned everything and everyone back there. And I think about them still, but I'm just completely immersed in my new life out here as a gypsy, and I love my life here. But yeah, so that was just something that was coming up for me. So what I'm kind of taking from that is I do want to stay more connected. I want to stay connected, not more connected. I want to stay connected. Like, and why I say not more is something I learned in my leadership course. Like, when you say more of something, you can't really measure that. I just want to be connected. I don't need to say how much more or this or that. I want to be connected. I want to feel connected with my family. Number one, my family. And then, when somebody crosses my mind, I want to act on it and call them, and not just think, oh, I should call them. No more shoulds. Like, I'm going to do it. Now, this is a little more difficult with the new job I have, because I'm kind of working 24/7 now. But it is something that I have on my mind, and that I am truly taking from that experience, because I knew that there was a reason that it was coming up for me. And I also, in this moment, during this mushroom trip, felt like an angel, kind of. I felt like an earth angel in a way. My mom and my auntie have talked to me a lot they've told me stories and about earth angels, about how, I don't know, like how angels can come from the universe in a way, and they come into the world in human form. It's a totally separate discussion, but it's just something that I felt that in that moment, I felt like I was not even human in that moment. I felt like a complete divine soul, and so connected with God and with the universe, that I completely felt like unstoppable. And it just made me, and though I know that I'm human, and I'm also seeing myself like, wow. And I was just so happy and excited that this is really, that this is where miracles grow and where miracles live, because really I still see myself that way. I felt like, even afterwards and even now and even before, I see myself as a divine miracle of this universe. Not from an ego sense either. Not that I'm perfect, not that I am and others are not. I think everybody is. I think every single person in this world is a miracle. And that brings me to another thing that I was thinking a lot about, was how unlikely it is that I'm here and how unlikely it is that you are here. So I'm going to remind you of this, because sometimes people need a reminder. I know I do sometimes. It's like, what are the odds that you're even here? 1 in 80,000 billion trillion, don't know, but so unlikely. And how many people are almost wasting this gift that they've been given of being here on being miserable, on being busy. Like, how are you doing? Oh, I'm busy, working, tired. That's the 3 responses I get most when I talk to anybody, at least like anybody from back home in the Western world. Like, and what? Like, it just, when I'm in that moment of complete transcendence and joy and connection and love, I've never felt more love in that moment than I did in that moment. And just to think about, I wish everybody could feel this. I wish everybody could remember how short of time we have on this planet, and how unlikely it is that they were given this time, and what is it that you're going to make out of this. And so I'm feeling really grateful that I have that mindset, and this has really contributed to it. And I've heard stories of other people feeling this way after experiencing this medicine as well. So it's really powerful stuff. I also had some experience with trusting my intuition. So, my intuition is completely heightened in this moment. There are moments where I didn't feel safe, and it wasn't actually while I was, in the high of it. It was actually afterwards, when I was like, I was okay. I was kind of going home at this point, and I could tell my spidey senses were tingling around being in a safe, like, I was in a safe area, but I didn't feel safe with the people who were around me, and I felt like I was in almost a fight or flight situation going home, like with these people who I had met who were kind of leaving the mountain at the same time as me. And I think that, I've told a couple people about this, about what had happened, and just like these people and how I was feeling around them, and like why it was that I was feeling this intuition go off around them, the way they were talking to me, the number of, it was a lot of like old, Filipino men, like maybe in their 30s or something, like all kind of it seemed like a suspicious situation for myself. And then some people that I've talked to, they said, oh, well, you were on mushrooms, like of course you're going to be paranoid. But I actually felt the opposite. I felt like I felt more clear in my mind than I've ever felt. And I feel like I was more in touch with my intuition than I've ever been. And so I actually felt like that it was, I think that actually helped me to discern that maybe I'm not safe here, and I need to get myself out of this situation as fast as I can. And I did, and it was okay. So it was scary. And I came back to the hostel, and I was really shaken up and kind of needed to like take a lot of time to like just to compress the entire day, because it was an overwhelming day overall. But it was just interesting, going from watching the sunset at the end of the day and crying of complete joy, and just looking at this absolutely amazing view, and just feeling like, okay, this is the beginning of the rest of my life, and I'm about to completely change the world. And if you know me, that's not just the drug. That's not the drugs. That's not the drugs talking, quote unquote. It's me. That's already how I feel, and I feel it more now than ever. I still feel unstoppable. I have already felt unstoppable, and this is just adding to the fire, and just giving me more clarity than I've ever felt. So, and I feel this every time to a different extent, and more, especially now as I am more of an adult. I'm far more mature than I've ever been. Traveling has changed me a lot, has made me far more mature, more in touch with my intuition, and it just grown me so much. So now to experience that, because that was the first time I have done mushrooms since I've been traveling. So it's a very different experience, and it's even so much more powerful than when I would even just a year ago had taken mushrooms. Completely different experience, and I'm gonna learn something new every time based on where I'm at in my life, and it's just I really can't recommend it enough. I want everybody in my life to experience this, and everyone's going to experience it differently. And even with the quote unquote bad experiences, I don't think there's any bad experience that you can have on this, just because even the ones that are uncomfortable and scary are teaching you something. They're showing you something. They're always showing you something. This medicine is always showing you what you need to see, and it's not always going to be pretty. It's not always going to be fun and bubbly and happy. Sometimes it's going to be really scary and dark, but that's what you need to see. It's going to bring up things for you that have been buried up in your soul in your mind for so long that your brain won't even go there when you're conscious. So you need to take your subconscious and kind of dive in there and see what needs to be brought up to the surface, so you can clear it away energetically and move on and enjoy your life. Another thing that I've said this so many times in my life, anytime I talk about psychedelics, because it's something I truly believe in, which is what I think that psychedelics does to you in the moment, like the feeling, the effects of it. So, when it comes to hallucinations and seeing things the way that you see them when you're under the influence of this, I personally believe that is actually what's there. So I don't actually think that when I am on this, I'm seeing something when I'm experiencing it, when I'm on mushrooms or any psychedelics, I'm not seeing what is not there. I'm actually seeing what is there. And it's what my conscious and logical mind is not allowing me to see in my everyday life. But taking this medicine actually peels away one of the layers of it's like it takes off the sunglasses, or one of the layers of the sunglasses of reality, of logic and what we see as reality. And it takes it off, and it allows you to see one step further into what is really there. Because, as some of you may know, the humans can only see this is an example I use, is humans can only see one small section of the color spectrum. Certain animals can see every color, and we can only see a tiny bit. So we have no idea what the world actually looks like in full color. We can only see what our limited mind will allow us to see. And so that's how we see everything, not just with color, not just with our eyes, but that's what our mind is only capable of seeing, and that is not the whole picture. There's so much, you don't know what you don't know. But when you tap into psychedelics, you still don't know what you don't know, but it almost takes the ego out of it, and it helps you look at life from a open-minded perspective of, wow, I really don't know, and I'm open to whatever is out there that I don't know, and I'm open to learning about it. I want to know more. You're curious, you're excited to find out. Eventually we're going to find out what's really behind the scenes of all of this universal wonder. When we die, we're going to probably find out whether, or we won't. Say if, none of this spirituality stuff is real and we're all just pieces of meat. Yeah, we maybe won't find out because we'll be dead. But maybe we will find out one day, what really is up there, what's going on. But I feel like this gives you a small look into what that might look like and what that really is. It's just it's so much more than a hallucination. I feel like it's a portal to another dimension of time and space.